Hey guys, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, man.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great, definitely. Ready for Sinterklaas, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Today, of course.
Yeah, the past weekend and today, it's been crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got a little one. We don't.
Two, two at this
Even.
point.
Ah,
Yeah, but one that's really she's old enough to
to
yeah
understand.
to understand, and the other one's 5 months old, so it's a bit too early.
So your wallet is burning at the moment.
My wallet's pretty burning. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So guys, how have you been doing in the past? Well, what is it like a year or something?
Yeah, we've been doing good. I think last time we've talked, that might be actually a few years already.
Years.
Uh,
Holy shit.
yeah, it was even before COVID, I guess.
Could be. It's.
Yeah.
I was talking about this like with another guy this day. Like, I use COVID in a lot of ways as like an anchor in time. So
Yeah.
like, was it before COVID or after COVID? It's an easy way to yeah.
Yeah, and the weirdest thing is actually always like I remember with ADE last year, it was like, "Hey, it was good to see you a few months back," but no, it was actually like plus 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're doing good. I've been working a lot in the studio. Now working on getting more shows. Like we've took the period of COVID to like rediscover ourselves sound wise as well.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed that we weren't having that much fun anymore in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us 2 years, I guess, to realize like, okay, we're just gonna do whatever we feel like and what feels good to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, actually, it's been pretty good, I must say. Like we've been having a lot of fun in the studio, making new music again, uh, doing a lot of content on social media, working hard, and yeah, it's been
Yep.
good.
Started a label as well.
Oh, really?
So
What's
we've
it
been
called?
we've been busy.
What's the label called?
Uh,
uh, it's called High Mood Records.
What? High?
High Mood
High
Records.
Mood Records.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's something totally different than what we've been doing with Tom and Jame.
Mm-hmm.
Because we started. It's kind of like lo-fi hip hop music, and we're expanding a bit right now. But it's different than what we used to do with Tom and Jame.
Yeah, I heard about that from Jay, because he's your neighbor, right, with the
Yeah, yeah,
studio.
yeah,
yeah,
And he mentioned it that you guys were focusing on that as well.
yeah, yeah. It's really nice to have because we're all into music and we love to produce stuff. But if you have to produce, well, let's say the same genre that you're always doing, then it you can't do that every single day. And in COVID times, we had a lot of time on our hands. Like we were, you know, suddenly you go from touring and having 2 or maybe 3 studio days a week, you go into only studio days. So we just decided, okay, we have a lot of music that we also try, and we didn't want to release that on the Tom and James. So at first we were like, hey, let's just release it. But pretty soon uh, we decided, no, let's do this bigger and let's start a label.
Hmm.
So we've been doing that for 1.5 years as well, and that's really dope as well.
yeah,
Nice.
and it's growing hard, and yeah,
Yeah,
proud to say that we now already have 40 artists on the label.
yeah,
40. Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, like a big part of it of them are Dutch, but it's also now worldwide.
Hmm.
It's more and more artists joining. So
And it's lo-fi focused.
yeah, so it's chill beats.
Yeah.
Lo-fi is a broad term for some. Like it is funny. At first, we thought like, okay, lo-fi is this one thing, but there's so many subgenres as well. Like you always notice that in music, you can't put like one sticker on music and then everything
Yeah.
is that. No, there's so much more going on.
so everything is kind. That's why it's also called High Mood Records. Everything is mood based. Um, so we kind of produce the beats in how we feel like, if I'm in this kind of mood, what kind of music do I want to listen to?
Yeah.
That's the whole vibe. So we also got into like Latin bossa nova kind of stuff.
Ah, that's cool too. Yeah.
So it's all different kind of genres, but I think for now the main focus is lo-fi, and we're going next year. We're going to um, go a
Expand.
bit more. Yeah, we're going to expand a bit more genre.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, chances are pretty big that I've listened to one of your songs because I'm a big lo-fi, chill kind of music listener. So
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Like that.
I'm a big fan of it. It really helps me, especially lo-fi. Really helps me with like deep work,
Mm-hmm.
focused work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big bossa nova fan as well. So
Ah, okay.
I'm gonna send you a link after.
exactly. Hey, back to the thing you mentioned that you kind of reinvented the Tom and James sound a couple of maybe already years ago, at least months. How does a process like that? How does that go? Like, do you just go out and look for new genres, or how does that work?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it took us some time, and not to like find the new sound, but to realize that we were ready for a new sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was because we've been doing, like, let's say, had the EDM sound that we had, um, like the big roomish sound. We did that for quite some years, and we built quite a fan base with it. And we did a lot of shows, so we were doing good. And then when we were feeling like we needed a new sound, like in our producer hearts,
Yeah.
I think at first we were searching for a new sound, but we still kept going with the old sound.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of still we were stuck in that same kind of loop of like trying new stuff, but then also when it's too new you kind of want to polish it again so that
Yeah.
we like it in or like we think maybe the fans would like it, and
Yeah.
then we were like, okay, no, this is something we are not supposed to be doing. We should produce like totally free, without thinking about it. And I think that that took us, I think, like at least a year or one and a half
Mm-hmm.
during COVID, and then we started just producing stuff that we felt at the moment,
Mm.
and I think we've been doing that ever since.
Yeah. And it was funny actually. Like you started an alias as
Yeah,
well. Like you just felt like, okay, I'm making music now that's different to Tom and Jane brand, but I like it a lot. So you wanted to do something with it, and I also helped with the productions here and there, or like it was mainly coming from you, but I was on the side as well, just like, hey, maybe you can do this or that.
Yeah.
And I think that's also maybe an indication of that something like you couldn't find your full creativity in the thing we were doing before.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it maybe took a longer time to switch over. Like I still love to make all kinds of genres, but the
I think
thing,
it was for you. It was because as a duo, you want to do stuff together, and you want to have the same feeling together. Otherwise, I'm producing a song, he's producing something, and then to stay in the
Yeah.
same sound, you are kind of like going in the middle, and I think that's not the right kind of view. I think you have to have the same view, and I think I was trying some new stuff. At the moment, you were not really sure what you wanted to do, and then when I was trying the new stuff, Jame was also like, okay, kind of like this, let's see. And then he started producing some stuff on its own, and then we found something new out of that.
Yeah.
And I think that was what really helped to kind of.
Mhm.
Oké, dit heb ik op het website kunnen vinden.
I think it's also pretty hard because you kind of get into this infinite loop where you already have your career going and you already are relying on a certain income from that sound because
Mhm.
you get booked of that old sound, so EDM in this case.
Yeah.
And you just know in the back of your mind that if you were to switch your sound, yeah, you're probably gonna notice that in your gigs as well because you're gonna
Mhm.
need a whole new kind of market to tailor to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How
definitely.
was
But it was scary, and I think that's why it took us so long to realize, like, hey, in the end, if we have fun, uh, then the music will be better. I feel like,
yeah,
and of course, you're gonna lose fans. That hurts. That's painful sometimes. It's also scary to see like what are the reactions going to be. But so far, like I feel like people are really positive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also what we did is we posted it more on social media. Like we didn't want to send it first to labels, then wait on a clearance or to sign it. Then 3 months later, it comes out. Like we were in such a good vibe in the studio that we were like, okay, we just want to share what we're doing, and that's we got a lot of positive reactions on that as well. Also a lot of views, so that was also a big motivator for us to keep going and to pursue like this new sound.
Yeah, I can imagine. And changing your genre. Um, yeah, as I said, it impacts in a lot of ways. But if I understand correctly, like sharing it with social media and getting instant feedback from the audience really helps you to push through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were at a point where we're like, okay, it's scary to change, because I think we did quite a big change. I think we went from music that you jump to, we went to choose music that you really dance to, and
Yeah,
it's more happy and more groovy, more funky. Um, and it's scary to do that, but on the other hand, we were like, we don't really care, because if we don't do this, we at least we try something that we like,
yeah,
and that's the most important thing. So when James says it was scary to see, if you lose fans or whatsoever, yes, on one hand it might be scary to see you lose like some dedicated fans, but on the other hand it gives you an option to find new people that like your new music. So I think that is the biggest thing we wanted to do, is to find a new audience. And on one hand, it's scary, but on the other hand, that makes sure that you kind of have the same feeling of when we started producing, and
yeah,
when we started to become known for our music. Everything was cool, social media became cool again. Like, oh, nice, we can do this, we can do that. Um, Even DJing, like recording a live set, it was a bit like, okay, yeah, we have to do a live set again.
yeah. It's
And
like
now it's
automated
like, oh,
piloting.
nice, let's do a live set, let's do some mashups, and let's do some cool
Mm.
edits that people can hear at our shows.
Yeah,
It's Yeah, it brings back the fun again, I guess.
yeah. That's something I hear a lot from artists after like the post COVID period, is that bringing back the fun, and getting back to the passion where all of this has started with is kind of the main thing I've seen happening with a lot of artists. Because I think what most artists, and maybe you guys as well, have noticed is that during the years, you kind of get into this automated pilot, as in you just keep doing what you've been doing, and you don't really consciously think about what you're actually doing anymore. You just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then COVID kind of helped to wake up and see things from a bigger perspective and realize, like, shit, we kind of got derailed here and we need to get back to the core, to having fun.
Hmm.
And I think it's great that you guys dare to make the move. And well, my Siri's popping up as well. I thought I turned it off last week. Um, but yeah, I think it's great to see you guys making the move and that it's actually working out for you. One of the things that I noticed with you as well, because I kind of keep watching you from a distance,
Nice.
is that your content yeah, got a big upgrade in the past few months. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely something that we try to do a lot more. Like back in the day, it was maybe like now I'm talking about 6 years back.
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe when a release came up, we posted 3 videos and maybe a countdown video or whatever, a teaser, and then the release was there and it was promoted from our end on.
Yeah,
And
that's what
then
we called artist promotion, and
yeah,
then and
Yeah,
then the rest was done by labels.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays it's way more like video reels, TikTok based. That's really something that we're spending a lot of time on because one, it's fun. Two, it's rewarding. Uh, yeah, where am I
That's
getting at?
it.
Yeah,
That's it. No, and I think you say one, it's fun. I also hear a lot of artists that talk about they don't really like to do it.
Yeah, that's what I hear the most. Like in coaching sessions here, most artists I talk to say like, I fucking hate it, but I
Yeah,
have to do it.
yeah, and that's what. Well, to be honest, we had the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can say, yeah, we dove into it, we went for it, and hey, here we are. No, no, no. It was a struggle at first because,
So what changed then?
well, at first it was like, oh, we have to create content because you have to do it because you're an
Mhm.
artist and everyone's doing it, so we have to do it. And then we did that, and some videos are good, and then some videos are really bad, and you're like, oh man, the algorithm, it's keeping me from getting out there. But then again, the algorithm is not made to hurt you or anything. It's actually made to make good videos or videos that stand out even more. Um, and then we also thought about, hey, if we are going to have to find a new, well, let's say a new, we are in a new genre, so we have to find maybe a new field of people who are listening to our music from now on. If we want to find those people, we definitely have to use our social media in the right way. And then also, in the beginning, we were like, okay, what's cool? What's everyone doing? What can we do? But then again, we didn't like making content then. So we decided, okay, content is needed because you can put hours into your music, and then when it's released, you just let it go, and then nothing happens. Why would I put the hours into the music then? I want people to see and hear about my music. So I think social media is an important part of being an artist. But then how to do the social media, that's all up to you. And I think everyone can find kind of their way of doing it. But it might take some time at first, and you really have to, like, it's like producing. In the beginning, you're not good at it. You have to, fall a couple of times and get back up, and then oh, one track pops up, and it's like, oh, nice. And it's the same with videos or with content. It's like you're struggling, but then hey, this one gets a bit more views. What did I do well? And then kind of see if you can do that again or do it better. And I personally think that that's the fun part about making content, kind of like puzzling and seeing what works well.
Hmm.
Uh, and also, I think it's a really nice thing that videos don't have to look like everything was shot with a red camera. You don't
Yeah.
have to spend thousands of dollars on after movies to get some like to get thousands, like 1,000 views, and
Mm.
then be like, oh well, that's it. No,
Yeah.
you can really use content in a way better way now. Um,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, we don't know what's gonna score.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like we've had that multiple times that we're like, should we post this one? Nah, not sure. Let's try it. Okay, boom. With one we had like 1.1 million views
yeah,
on it,
Yeah.
and for us it was like, not
yeah,
sure.
You
Maybe
know,
maybe it's fun.
the way how I see it and what I experience here as well is that content is the exact same as music. Like with your songs, it's the same thing. The best songs get thrown in the trash can. It's just that once you kind of decide, like, okay, let's see what it's going to do, that might be your next big hit.
yeah,
You
Mm,
just don't realize it yet because you listen to it from a different perspective than the first listener does.
mm,
Um, you just need to find a way to make it fun.
yeah,
yeah,
And that's something that I think you guys have found over the past period is that you found a way to make social media fun for yourself instead of this tool you need to use to build your career. It's a
yeah,
different perspective on the same thing.
yeah,
yeah. I think for us it's now fun to test different things. Like, hey, we really had fun making this video. Is this also working? Is this something we can do more often? For example, we did a video in the studio here where we put up like four CDGs, and then Tom produced our track on camera. So
Mhm.
playing on the four players, like the Pioneer players, putting things together, then suddenly our whole track was there.
Yeah.
That's something that we tried out. Took us 4 hours to make, just figuring out like, okay, how are we gonna do it?
Yeah.
Like 4 hours for, let's say, 30 seconds clip.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was fun and it was interesting content, I
Yeah.
guess. For me, it felt like that, and we see, compared to our other videos, people really like that, and it's something we haven't seen before.
Yeah. And I want to add to that that it sounds ridiculous doing a video, like recording it for 4 hours, but the 4 hours were needed for us to feel okay with the video, or like I
Yeah.
think this is how we want to show it to people. And it was the first time recording this kind of content. So the good thing is now we know how it works, or how it worked for us. So the next time we want to film it, it might be costing us only 15 minutes or
Yeah.
maybe 20. Um, so in the beginning, you will be putting in a lot of time, but it's the same with like what you said with producing. Back in the days when I was like, I don't know, 15, it took me 2 months to finish a track,
Yeah.
and now I can finish a track in a day. That also doesn't happen every day, but I can finish a track in a day if I'd like to.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the same with creating content. In the beginning, it's just a lot of time and effort, but it will be good in the end because you will be faster.
Yeah, and at the end, the time investment, if you think about it, 4 hours for a 30-second piece of content, which might reach 100,000 people, or 60 hours for a 3-minute track.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
true.
eventually, your little piece of video could reach more people than your music does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it works the other way around as well. Your music will reach an audience, but your content will reach an audience too. And
Yeah.
now having two ways of building the audience might, speed up the process. Let's say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, and maybe you can say this is true or not, but what I think happened with you as well. Maybe the biggest mindset shift for you guys is that you've overcome perfectionism.
Uh,
So,
Still,
Overcome is a big word.
or at least say you've become better at it, because as you said as well, you don't need a super high quality camera to record a piece of content. Only that little sentence says about you that perfection went down, as
yeah,
in quality still matters, but quality is subjective, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
And I think that's an important step to take once you start thinking about, well, music production, but also content creation.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, we both spend a lot of time on TikTok. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a lot of time, but all the content you see is just with an iPhone. Hey, I'm gonna record something, blah blah blah. I'm talking in my to my screen, and then you post it, and then people will love it or whatever. Like it has become so quick
Mhm.
in a way, and that's something that we still searching for to make it easier for ourselves as well. And I feel like that's sometimes like a hurdle that we still need to take. Like, okay, we just put our phone down, record. It's the first take. Let's go post it. That's something
Like,
that we still struggle with like perfectionism in a way.
yeah, so less creative, but more in the moment.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's still something that's difficult. But it's funny, like you see it all the time. You're so used to watching it, but then when you try to make it on your own, then it's so difficult.
It's
And then
difficult, right?
yeah, then you're
But the
thinking,
best tip for that is probably to not make a video like 30 seconds, and then when you make a mistake, you stop and do the whole video again. But you just record yourselves for like, until you say something wrong, and then you stop, and then you just wait a second, you breathe, and you just continue with the video. And then maybe you have a 4 minute video in the end, but you just cut out the pieces that were wrong, and then
Yeah.
you have a really fast video. That's, I think, the best tip to get rid of
Yeah.
of all the takes that you have to do.
Yeah, I think that's an important one because the keeping it real, let's say, is important these days. You know, the fact that content can be raw means that people want to see the real you and not the polished, edited version of who you guys
Mm.
are,
Yeah.
but like the real version of who you are.
Yeah.
And in order to show that to people, you need to be super self-secured and not perfectionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still something that we're working with and on, but yeah, I'm
I
happy
think
that
especially in production as well.
yeah, still,
Yeah, but
but
you've already managed to make a big step. You know, like I noticed a big shift in your content, in the amount of content, but also in what kind of content you guys posted. So people notice, and that's the most important thing. And the same as with your music, it's a process.
Yeah.
You know, in 2 years from now, you will be the content kings, for example.
let's go.
Yeah.
I'll sign for that. No,
Yeah,
but it's funny. We hear it from other DJs as well. Like, hey, I saw your track. It's dope, and or I see your videos, really good stuff, or I like it, or yeah, that kind of stuff, that kind of feedback from the scene as well. That's big for us, and that
yeah.
makes it worth it as well.
And is it also that one of you guys, or maybe both of you, learned how to Photoshop or how to do Final Cut or whatever?
we,
Yeah.
we can both do it. I
Mhm.
think you did in the beginning. You did a bit more on the Premiere Pro side,
Hmm.
but then now since we have the CapCut edit app, it's like, yo, this thing is
Yeah.
fast. we
Everybody can do it.
CapCut?
yeah yeah, it's called CapCut,
Hmm.
and it's I think it's an app by TikTok, right?
Yeah. It isn't named as an official TikTok app, but I
And
think
it's
it's from the same makers or
Yeah, so it's like an easy version of a Premiere Pro kind of thing, and it used to be on only in like on iPhone app, but now it's also a desktop app. So since we have that, like editing a video is so quick. So now we just edit our own ideas really quickly. So
there's
that
no excuses anymore.
no, there's no
I
one can
out
say
of the
I don't
window.
have Premiere Pro or it's expensive or I don't know how it works. You
Yeah,
cannot say that because CapCut is free.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think like we've both have been doing like Photoshop kind of stuff or video editing
Yeah,
for as long as we've been doing it. Like we were always really interested in our on that subject ourselves, and we also did a lot of stuff.
hmm
I guess compared to other artists, like we saw a lot of artists that were like, oh, we work with a social media company or whatever, and we did everything ourselves.
I think that's the power behind it. Because as an artist, this is the face, you know, like your personality is the brand. So
yeah,
it's hard to have another company delivering a message about your personality.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
just,
Because it's like really you want to do in the moment kind of stuff, I
yeah,
guess. Because if I'm here on a Friday and I have this cool tune and I'm opening up a beer, and I want to film that or I have an idea with that, oh, this might be funny. And then I just record it and then I can throw it into CapCut and edit it real quick. And maybe half an hour later, I have a video. And if
yeah,
you have a social media guy or someone who needs to film it for you, then it's like, oh, hey, dude, I have an idea. And then he's like, yeah, okay, it's Friday afternoon. I can do it on Monday. And then maybe on Thursday you have the video, and then it's you're a week late already. And if you do that with all the content, you also have to have an agenda, like keep calling that guy. And if you do it yourself, it's just way easier.
yeah, and also takes away the part when like a company like that sends it back after a week that you start doubting, like, hey, is it interesting? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I think the biggest difference between having a company creating it or doing it yourself is also the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
So looking at that video on a Friday afternoon, people can just somehow feel that it's been you,
Yeah.
and that it's in that moment, and that's just something that's hard to recreate by someone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What I'm wondering as well is how much time goes into this on a weekly base.
Okay, that's a good one because we do a lot of different things nowadays. No,
Let's
but
let's say
we
let's
work on our label, we work on Tom and Jame. We also do productions for other artists, so we do a lot of stuff. But let's say Tom and Jame, including social media, content creation. I think we try to pick one day a week where we do just content for a couple of days or maybe 2 weeks.
yeah,
So let's say one day every
Half a
two
day.
weeks,
Yeah.
half a day every week,
okay,
like
that's doable.
Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, just only content, and then yeah, I we don't really we work with an agenda like posting. Okay, when are we gonna post what? But I think we only work like a week ahead, nothing more
Yeah,
than that.
Yeah, we're also creative, so a bit unstructured.
Yeah,
We try to.
calendars don't work for you.
Sometimes it works, but
but we need it.
yeah, we need
Exactly.
structure.
Cool.
So I think it's that maybe half a day.
That's doable.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more, but that's okay. Um, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to explain this all, because I know a lot of artists out there are struggling with social media and the creation and like balancing out the time with music production. It's becoming a really big issue for a lot of artists, and I kind of feel like you've figured out how to combine the two things. So I want to thank you for sharing that, and
Yeah, no worries.
series series back.
I maybe got one thing to add, like what
Mhm.
really changed the way I thought about social media and what we saw from the statistics as well. I think the audience we reach with like Reels, TikTok, it's maybe 60-70% people that don't follow us. So that's something that was like a big eye opener for me because
So
if you
algorithmic.
yeah, so if you post a lot, it feels like spamming a lot. So you're posting to the same people over and over again.
Yeah, so you mean if you have, for instance, if you have a song and you post about the song or you have the song incorporated into the video that you post, then we were kind of like I think we did 2 or 3 maybe posts or videos, and then we just stopped doing videos about the song. And then we realized when we look back at like a few releases before, we were like, oh my god, about this release we did one video and then we just stopped. And the funny thing is that's because in our heads we think everyone's seen the video, everyone's heard the
Yeah.
song, but that's not the case.
No.
So because we have a lot of like new people on our Instagram and TikTok account that see the videos, so they haven't seen the video before or the one before that maybe. So that I think that's what you mean when that
Yeah.
kind of shifted in your head.
Yeah.
We also had a lot more ideas that were maybe like um, not even really different ideas from the other videos, but just more ideas that have had a bit of variety in them.
Mhm.
And that way you can create a lot of content.
Yeah, and it's almost impossible to spam your followers because the algorithm will simply stop sharing your content if you keep spamming that much, and it will start sharing it maybe 3 days later or 5 days later or whatever. So it's impossible to spam your current audience, but every piece of content will reach new people as well,
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of growth is for artists and for you guys as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Good
example,
realization. Good
if you're
add-on.
just starting out and you're thinking like, hey, this is my first video, I don't want only my friends to see it.
Yeah,
It's gonna reach other people.
exactly.
Chances are it's not even gonna reach all your friends.
Exactly. You have to pay for that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Thanks for taking the time, and speak soon.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cool, man.
man. Bye bye.
Bye.